You're listening to the Profit Connections podcast. Entrepreneurs and franchise owners, you'll want to tune in. If you're looking to create a rock-solid business, sick of being stuck on the plateau, and ready to kick it up more than just a notch, you're in the right place. I'm your host, Sharon Galuzzo, and I believe in unleashing your full potential to create resilient, successful businesses that in turn make significant positive impacts in our world. Welcome to the Profit Connections podcast. Hello, and welcome to the Profit Connections podcast. This episode is going to be so much fun because I have my friend Lori here, and you are going to love her. We have so much in common, and I love spending time with this woman, and I just was like, my community needs to hear from Lori McDowell. So let me officially introduce her. Lori McDowell is a best-selling author, coach, and speaker known for her heart-led spiritual approach to helping people redefine success and fulfillment. Through her award-winning book, The Reinvention Mindset, coaching and retreats and transformative workshops, Lori guides women to overcome limitations and create lives of purpose and joy. Everybody, please welcome Lori McDowell.
Hi, Sharon and everyone. I'm so happy to be here. And yes, I'm with you. This is going to be a lot of fun.
So Lori, one thing that I didn't really talk to you about is one of the components of how I work with my program and my clients is the joy quotient. So I love that joy is a part of what you do as well, because what I find with my clients is that they're so consumed with running the business and making a profit and making it work and making it successful and having lives and wearing all the hats. And at some point in there, the joy, the reason they started their business, the why, the connection to that passion, it can be lost. And I don't think we talk enough about that. So that's something that when I read that, I was like, oh yes, joy. I want to make sure we talk about a little bit of joy today. But before I continue to speak so much, Lori, I want you to share with everyone why you do this. What is your big why?
Well, you talked about joy, and really joy is one of my big whys because I have a motto that life is meant to be lived one crazy adventure at a time. And I think when we do that, then we serve our highest purpose and we get more success. And part of that is joy. I mean, I think the world's an amazing place. I don't care what's going on. I think the world is incredible. And I'm so excited to be living here and with all these other people. And we forget that. We get so wrapped up in work and we get wrapped up in things, politics, business, war, all the stuff that's going on around us. And if we make a choice to be happy, to be joyful, to be, we can't control all the stuff around us, but we can control what's inside of us. And when you do that, that stuff doesn't bother you as much and you get so much more done. So by being more joyful, more happy, and happy with yourself, your business is better. I mean, you kind of get
Absolutely.
rid of all the stuff that holds you back.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that 100%. And I love that is the way that you said it and the way that you brought it out is exactly what I think people need to hear. So that was amazing. Thanks. So what else? Reinvention Mindset. Oh, I love the title of your book. So talk a little bit about that because when I hear reinvention mindset, I think something. And I think other people do as well. And we're probably all right. And I'd love to hear how you define reinvention mindset, because you've got quite a
Sure.
story.
Yeah, for reinvention mindset. And I wrote the book. I had worked in corporate America for over 30 years, and I like to say, one day I heard the voice of God and he set me free. So suddenly I was no longer with corporate America. And I wasn't sure what I was going to do, and I always wanted to write a book. So I said, well, I'll just write a book, and I had no idea what the book was going to be about. And I just followed my intuition and came up, worked with some coach on writing a book. And we came up with the title, The Reinvention Mindset. And it's about that there are people in life who horrible, horrible things happen to them, things outside their control. And rather than crumble or fall apart, They take those horrible things and they do something amazing. And that's the reinvention mindset because they don't let those things get them down. There are other people that something bad happens and they wallow in it for years and they let it affect their life and they're miserable. And what I did was I looked at people in both categories, interviewed most of the reinvention mindset people, and saw what they have in common and what it is that enables them to do it. So those characteristics are part of the reinvention mindset. But a reinvention mindset is what happens outside of you doesn't really matter. You can always create the life you desire. You can create your own joy, you can create your own peace, and you can create your own success. And if you think that way, then there's endless possibilities. So that's kind of what the reinvention mindset is.
Yeah, I love that. I know that whenever, like I said, when you're running, people are running their businesses, it can become all consuming. And to take that breath and to step back and say, how can I look at this differently? When I work with my clients, sometimes they'll have some kind of a challenge that it's like a brick wall. They can't get past it. And so I like to play a game that I call Make It a Feature, which is whatever that challenge is, lean into that challenge. Be able to, like I was at a show this weekend. I do some dinner theater, and this woman was really nervous because it was her first time hosting, and so she was nervous about all of the getting everything right. And I was just like, lean into that, make that funny. She's like, I can't be funny. I'm too worried about being on script. I'm like, make that funny. Whatever it is that you want, like this is a ridiculous one, but if you had a business and it was a brick and mortar business, and in order to get for people to get to your business, they had to cross a moat full of alligators that were man-eating alligators. They're going to eat you. So how can you can't I can't have a business. They have to cross this, man-eating alligator pit. Well, how do you make that a feature? Feed the alligators. So you come do business at my business and feed the alligators. Like I've done that with groups of people to say, hey, how can you make it a feature? Make it funny. Start with the funny, and then make it a little bit ridiculous, and then maybe you can even bring it back to something that's more practical, because it's only a challenge in your mind.
I love that. Yeah, I love that. Make it a feature. Yeah, I always think there's everything we get as a gift too, and having that funny and the fun because I think we don't play enough.
Hmm.
And when people start their businesses, they did it because they want to have fun. They didn't want to have all that pressure. And then we put so much pressure on ourselves. And the pressure stops us from having fun. It stops us from playing. It stops us from smiling and laughing. And then we don't have fun anymore. And we don't love our business. And when you don't love it, you're not going to do as well.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think having fun and seeing negative things they're a gift. You got to figure out what can I learn from it? How can I turn it into a positive? What can I do better next time? How can I make myself stronger? Maybe something bad happens, I can help compassion or I can build my resilience, but it's always something positive. So I love that. And if I were in that business, I would buy a hot air balloon company and just take people across because I think that would be fun. And then you suddenly have two successful businesses.
That's awesome. I love it. There's no limit when we release our minds to dream and be silly and bring that fun back in. We really can be unstoppable. But what we do is we stop ourselves when we start having an idea, or we start, oh, this is ridiculous. Oh, I can't do it. Oh, this is not right. This is impossible. This is too hard. When we get all up in all of that, um, we can't see anything. So I loved that you talked about play. Can you talk a little bit more about play?
Yeah. I mean, I think, you know, everything is when we work from our heart wants to have fun. Our inner child who's holding us back is because they're kind of scared. But if you give that inner child permission to have fun, that inner child can help you instead of holding you back. Your intuition will always take you positive places. So that by letting yourself enjoy it and play, and particularly in business, you can open up possibilities and creativity and things that you never thought. And when you lead from your heart, you just naturally go there. But like you said, so many times we stop ourselves, we question, oh, should I be doing this, or is this fun, or I mean, how many times you have your own business, you make your own schedules, and you have an opportunity to, I don't know, have lunch with a friend or do something, and it's like, oh, I don't have time for that. And it's like, if you don't make time for that,
Yeah.
you're not going to have that as, having that as part of your life and taking that time is going to make you so much productive the rest of the time. And it's going to make you so much happier.
Yeah.
And happy people get things done.
Yeah, and I think as adults, not only do we think we don't have permission to play, we forget how to play.
Hmm.
Yeah, because it's so and in particularly with people who have businesses and practices where they want to make a difference in the world and they think that well the subject matter is a heavy subject matter. And they, it's not if it were a funeral home, like there are places that that's kind of a heavy thing and you can't think about playing around that. And Lori, what you and I know because we're in programs together is that the heavier the subject, the more serious, the more whatever, uh, the more important it is to be able to make people laugh and find joy and play in it so that they can actually access what's available for them.
Yeah, I want to share a quick story. I learned that from my dad. My dad was a joker. My dad was fun. Everybody loved my dad. And when my dad was young, only in his 50s, he ended up getting cancer. And while he was in the hospital for his first chemotherapy treatment, his mother passed away. So here's, you know, tragedy upon tragedy. Well, I can remember being at the funeral. My dad had just gotten out of the hospital from his chemo. And I'm sitting in the room when the priest is talking, and my dad's out in the hallway. And suddenly I hear my dad talking to a friend of his that he hadn't seen, and he curses at him in Italian, like really loud. Like I don't know if everybody else heard it, but I heard it. And I just started laughing. And I could not, I'm trying to be quiet and I'm laughing so hard, like tears are coming down my eyes, those laughters that are, because I, between the stress and all, but this laughter. And my dad walks in and sees me. He knew I was laughing, that I must have heard him. He starts kind of laughing. And it's funny because all the people in the funeral are like, oh, they're so upset. They must have been so close to their mother and grandmother. They're just, and in the meantime, we're hysterical, cracking up. But that was just how my dad was. And it's just a way, if you laughing, playing, it releases stress. And it doesn't make, I'm sure my grandmother was laughing with us. So it doesn't, you don't have to make us, even a bad experience doesn't have to be horrible. And like some of the people I interviewed in my book had, like had horrible things and they turned it into something amazing. And part of that is keeping that play, that laughter, and seeing that there's lightness everywhere and there's joy around us. You just need to look for it.
Yeah. Yeah. And also just as a little caveat, if you happen to be in a heavy like you're going through it, that this isn't your business, if you're going through it and you think that you can't laugh or have joy in that moment, this is not a judgment on grieving and processing through heavy things. We were talking about it from a different perspective. So don't feel like that
Yeah.
is what we're saying. You feel what you feel. You have to honor what you're going through, and it still might turn into a laughing fit because there's so much pressure, and that's a release valve. That's a way to process through it as well. But yes, I absolutely think that that joy and laughter and play is a part of an adult's world. And we need to normalize, as the kids say, we need to normalize
Yeah.
adult play and laughter again. I
I
think it'll
love
make
that
us more successful.
I love that you said feel how we feel too, because that's like, yeah, that's so important. I feel like as adults, particularly, and people who are, want to be successful, we have this set of rules that somebody, whether it's society or somebody, put these rules on us, and we feel like we have to follow all the rules. And if we just follow the rules and we do that right thing, we're going to be successful. And half the time we do that, and we get to a place and we're like, is it, I don't see that success, or is this all there is? And I think you need to break those rules, make your own rules. I mean, because those rules were not, they weren't made for you, they weren't made specific, and they were made by, I don't know who made them. You don't have, do what, feel your feelings and find your joy and find what lights you up and do life that way is really important.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Yeah. Yeah, I think and um as we move forward into our business. Like for me, it's really funny that you said don't follow the rules because, I am a strategist. I'm a profit growth strategist. So I have things that I want to list out. And yes, these are the things to do. I didn't say should. These are the things to do. Uh, and uh, and it's an and world. These are the things to do. And so if you need to change or adjust or something, it is an and world. And I think that looking at our businesses, our families, when we're working for other people, when we're transitioning, when we're going through hard times, when we're living life, all of the life stuff of life, if we remember and I think that will really take us further because it's it is an and world. I think sometimes it's black or white, and black or white will keep you stuck in one or the other. And if it can be black and white in all the colors of the rainbow, black and white in all the colors of the rainbow, and every color you can imagine that doesn't really exist. It can be anything, and it's limitless. And that's why I love your reinvention mindset. It actually is a limitless way to look at your life and your world.
Right. It really is. And it's also that you can do it at any time. I mean, you don't have to wait for this big, you can reinvent yourself every morning if you choose to. I
I
mean,
love that. Yes, every morning, love it. Yeah, yeah, that's really great. So Lori, you have a gift for our profit connectors out there, our audience, and I'd love for you to share that with us.
sure. I have a gift. I call it the Celebrate Soul Success Assessment. And the name came from so many people look like success on paper, but they're not successful in their soul because they're doing what they're supposed to do and they think this is what but they forgot, they lost that joy. So when I coach people, I help them find that joy because I think once you celebrate that success in your soul, then everything is limit and your business takes off and you can do things you never thought possible. Yet you need to have a starting place. So what this assessment does is it helps you figure out where you are today. So it looks at different areas of your life and your business, and you answer some questions, and it kind of tells you where you're strong, and then it tells you where you could use a little help. And after the assessment, I invite you to schedule a call with me to review the assessment. We could look at, what might be some steps you can take to help you where you are week, and we could celebrate the areas where you're strong and because celebrating is so important.
I love that. And just what you were saying is sometimes you look like a success on paper, and a lot of times people are like, I don't want anyone to know that I'm not really a success because I feel like a fraud behind the scenes, or I have imposter syndrome or something like that. Secretly, you know what's going on inside of you. And if you have any inkling that something could be better, go ahead and get Lori's gift because it will absolutely be a benefit to you. Nobody has to know. Lori's not taking out a billboard
Yeah.
saying, Joe Schmo's, t-shirt emporium, owner doesn't feel successful inside. It, really, truly, we've been talking about taking care of you and take care of you. Take the assessment, look at what's going on because happiness is not always the dollar signs on the piece of paper. If you can't access that success inside of you and feel it actually being a success and you're just looking like a success, even if you are doing millions of dollars, there still might be a little empty place inside of you that needs a little help. And so I encourage you to go to the profitconnectors.club area. We will have a link to Lori's gift and some information about Lori. And I encourage you to go there. We will make that available to you. And thank you so much, Lori, for being here at the Profit Connections podcast. This has been great.
Thank you. It was a lot of fun. I enjoyed it.
Hey, Profit Connectors, that's it for another Profit Connections podcast. If you're ready to make moves and connections that take your business to the next level and get your gifts and resources, head over to the website profitconnectors.club. That's profitconnectors.club and get your goodies right now.